What is good, everyone? This is a highly anticipated video. A lot of you guys have asked me for this, so I'm really excited to put this out there. I'm going to be talking about standing posture, literally just how to stand here on 2 feet. I'm going to give you the main checkpoints that I look at when I'm trying to stand with good posture myself, and what I'll use to assess clients as I work with them to fill in their gaps and obviously help them remediate the pain, the recurring injuries, and whatever other issues that they're dealing with. And this is the same stuff that has helped me go from being in literal crippling pain with sciatica, patella tendonitis, low back pain, Achilles issues, chronic ankle sprains, literally you name the injury, I had it. And this stuff that I'm about to show you has taken me from being a victim to all of that stuff, suffering through it all as I was trying to be an elite athlete, to now being able to move and perform however and whenever I want without having to be limited by those things, without having to be like, oh, I gotta stretch for 30 minutes and do all this band work before I start training, or else I'm gonna feel terrible throughout it. Now I just hop into things. I'll do a little warm up, of course, but my warm ups are now more geared towards just preparing myself mentally for whatever activity I'm about to do, as opposed to having to warm up my muscles and joints because they hurt so bad. So all this stuff I'm going to show you is the foundation of me being able to achieve that, because all movement is you being able to hold posture well in a dynamic fashion. So if you can figure out how to hold your posture perfectly just standing on 2 feet, and then eventually standing on 1 foot, and then scaling that up into other activities like how to do a lunge, doing a hinge, all these other activities, you can add load, you can add power, speed to them. You're gonna become unstoppable. And like, I'm really not exaggerating here. This is seriously the transformation that I went through. I was already really athletic, but now I'm just put together in a way that just makes movement feel like a dream. Everything feels so effortless. So I'll stop talking about myself. I'll stop talking about the power behind these principles, and I'll actually get into the video. So first things first checkpoint, we're gonna look at the feet. The feet are really important, of course, because they're the first point of contact that we have with the ground. The thing to look at here is that our feet are pointing perfectly straight. And what's going to be contradictory to a lot of you is that straight will actually look like the feet are pigeon-toed, coming inwards like this. This is a bit of an exaggeration, but you do want to see the toes coming inwards towards each other. You do want to see the forefoot also coming inwards towards itself. The toes being straight is not straight. Like, a lot of people would call this straight at the feet. Hopefully you guys can see that. This right here is not straight, because what is dictated, or what dictates straight, are your ankle bones. So you want to pretend like there's a wall right in front of you. You're facing that wall, and a line that goes straight through your ankle bones is perfectly parallel to that wall that's in front of you. So that's going to mean that your feet, because of the way that they jut inwards at the forefoot, at the front of your foot, that's going to mean that they're going to look a little bit pigeon-toed and they're going to come in towards themselves. So that's number one. And then from there, you want to press the big toe into the ground. Don't want to do it excessively, but definitely want to feel that arch of the foot come on and start firing, because you're pressing that big toe into the ground. You're also, some of you are going to be experiencing this, not all of you, but when you get your feet straight, two things are going to potentially happen. Number one is that the ankles rather, come inwards like this and flatten out, and or the knees are also going to come in and valgus like this. To remediate that, you want to think about, number one, pushing yourself to the outside of your feet. So really bringing your ankle bones out. That's going to raise the arch in your foot, especially if you have flat feet. That's going to be important for you. And it's also going to help you activate, or the second thing rather, sorry, is to externally rotate against the ground. So basically you're rotating your feet against the ground, you're twisting them against the ground as if you were going to do this motion with them, but you're still going to keep them in that same straight position. You're just torquing against the ground, through your hips, through your core, your low core, and your hips. So you should really feel that turn your glutes on. And if you happen to feel this a little bit in your low back or any other area that's not just like your hips, you want to really bring awareness to the femurs, especially the head of the femurs where they sit in their sockets. So on each side, simply bring awareness to them first off. And then second, I want you to really feel like you're centrating the head of those femurs, your thigh bone, in their rightful position in that hip socket. Because a lot of times we could be kind of lax and kind of have our hips just like being pretty quite lazy, honestly. But if you really focus on that femur head and really squeezing those muscles lightly around the femur, like literally like thinking about where it sits in the socket, and all of those muscles from the inside out, the most deepest muscles there, thinking about really activating those, then you'll feel taller on your hips, and you should take that load off of your low back or any other areas. I know sometimes if you have sciatica, you could definitely feel that in that low back area, but I found that this cue right here about the femur heads will be very helpful for a lot of you guys. So try that out if you do have back tension. And that's also, again, going to help you really understand, even if you don't have back tension, what it means to be tall through the hips. Now, that alone, those cues alone with the feet, getting the knees out in place, ankle bones in the right place, and then the hips really activated, that alone will get you in much better posture than you've probably ever stood in before. Now, next is going to be focusing on the upper body and what the whole shoulder girdle is doing. So I may have mentioned this, but you want to make sure that you are tightening in the lower belly. You really want to squeeze that lower belly. And I just want to differentiate what it means to tighten in the lower belly. I hope you guys can see this. Tighten in the lower belly. This is what I'm doing right now versus, and this is where most of you guys will be, just kind of flaccid here. So tightening in the lower belly was what I just showed you versus sucking in the lower belly. You could see my ribs are protruding here, and you could see this area is not connected. So what you want to do is tighten in that lower belly. So what you're not doing is pushing this out to contract it. You want to contract it inwards to get everything super tight and create pressure in the front of your core here. That's going to be super critical for you moving forward, because a lot of these issues like low back pain, sciatica, even knee issues, things that you don't think are related, stem from your lower core not firing. I see a lot of people not really being able to engage this lower core region, and as a result they have all those problems. So a lot of times I fix this in clients and they'll immediately feel a lot better, feel in better posture, feel better aligned, and they'll have all these aches and pains kind of reduced around their body. So really learn to engage this. If you don't know how to, or you can't, go watch my core video. It's the one that I posted right before this recently. Go watch that, because I tell you exactly how to engage the core. I give you progressions on how to do that as well. But in this video, what I'll show you, a little trick, is to use your exhale to your advantage. So if you're having trouble doing that, tightening that low core in, just take a strong exhale. Like literally like you're blowing out birthday candles. And feel how that brings your whole core to be more compact and tight. That's the feeling that we're looking for. So now that we got that down, we got our feet, we got our ankle bones, knees in alignment, hips centrated in their sockets, really activating the area around those femur heads. Got my low core engaged on both sides. I'm feeling nice and even through both of my legs in terms of weight distribution. Now what I want to think about, if this didn't already happen for you, again, based on the other cues, I'm going to think about getting my chest nice and tall, but you don't want to let go of this core activation as you do that. You want to make sure that you're holding on to this core activation, and you're just going to slightly raise your sternum up. just to make yourself have a nice big chest. And if that's hard for you, another thing that you can think about is actually elongating the area between your scapula. So just bring awareness to that part of your spine. Literally just sit there, close your eyes, feel it, and then you want to act as if you're pulling a rope from both sides. You want to feel like you're pulling the slack out of that rope in that area of the spine in between the shoulder blades. What that should do is get your spine nice and tall first off, and then it should also get your head and neck in a really good position without even having to think about your head and neck. And then it'll also expand your torso up top. So it'll make your shoulders broader. It'll make your chest pop out. It'll make your back broader as well. And that is a nice, strong position. From there, what we want to do is just let the shoulders relax. You don't want to lose the tension in the spine, don't want to lose the tension in the core, but you do want to allow the shoulders to somewhat relax, and they're going to just find their natural position. You don't need to think about shoulders down and back or anything like that. Just literally focus on the spinal posture, focus on the core engagement and what the feet are doing, and then naturally the shoulders are just going to sit in their rightful position. And I could just stop talking for a couple seconds and show you that real quick. So hopefully you could see that as I was making those small shifts, really getting everything in line. Another thing that some of you guys might think about is having to get your torso to be straight, your hips to be straight, because sometimes we'll be completely twisted. The hips will be going this way, torso will be going this way. So you really just want to feel like everything is nice and stacked up in proper alignment. And that's really the last piece of all of this, is to connect the gaps. So I gave you a few main checkpoints: the feet, the knees, the hips, low core, and then the sternum, mid-spine area. Those are all the main checkpoints, but in between that, what you're gonna have to do is just sit, chill in those positions. I say chill, but it should be really challenging to hold this position if you are making progress, if you are perfecting your posture. Then it should not be easy to hold it by any means, but nonetheless, you're going to sit in that posture. You're just going to close your eyes and breathe. Literally just focus on nice, smooth breaths coming in and out. And eventually, you'll kind of feel exactly where your body will shift. Literally, all the answers are ingrained in you. You have the roadmap in your body, and you just need to put yourself in positions to figure it out. The breathing, the closing of the eyes, the just being still, clearing your mind, that will help you find the right positions so that you don't even need a coach to tell you what it is. Obviously, a coach will help you expedite that process and bring your awareness to those different kinds of nuances that are going to help bring you in the right direction. But really, at the end of the day, even if you have a coach, you're going to have to figure this stuff out on your own. You have to be the one to feel these different details on your own, to feel the subtleties of your body that are off, that aren't in the right position. That's how you're going to truly empower yourself and be the master of your own body. So you don't have to pay any chiropractor or any physical therapist for the rest of your life. That's how you're really going to step into your own power and resilience in your body and be able to perform however, whenever the hell you want. So that's it for the cues. And guys, that being said, if you want to work with me personally so I can help you find the gaps in your posture, I can assess you, I can guide you along the process. Like I said, this is something that you should be able to find internally, but with a coach, you can immensely reduce the learning curve that it takes to, number one, understand good posture, because it's deeper than what I just mentioned. There's things that are way more advanced that there are for you to figure out. And number two, to understand how to execute movement patterns. Once you get that base of good posture, now how are we doing lunges? How are we doing our pushes, our pulls? How are we doing all those different things in line with the principles that I just laid out today? Transitioning that all the way into your actual athletic movements. That's what I can help you with, giving you a training program to help you understand all that stuff, and continual coaching and support and feedback so that you never feel alone along the way. So if you want that, book in a call down below. I'll put a calendar link down below so you could chat it up with us, see exactly, again, what your specific situation is, what you need help with, where you've been in terms of like the kinds of training modalities that you've used, what worked, what didn't work, and we'll be able to give you guidance from there. And if it's a fit, then we'll bring you on board and we'll gladly work with you and start transforming your body. So if that's you, just book in a call down below. But otherwise, please practice these cues. I swear to you, if you literally do this for 5 minutes every single morning, that's what I do currently. That's my current regimen. Do this for 5 minutes every single morning. Your posture is going to improve like crazy just doing this, I promise. But let's see how many of you actually do this, because implementing is a whole different skill than just watching a YouTube video like this. So please put this into practice, and we'll see you on the other side with perfect, resilient, beastly-like posture. Catch you guys on the other side.